Alright, good morning everybody, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whatever time you're tuning into this video, just make sure that it is good. My name is Game Boy Rob, and welcome back to another Champion Reveal. Legends of Runeterra Champion Reveal, featuring, not Ziggs, not Xerath, no, featuring someone who was not in any sort of teaser or reveal or trailer or anything. Nami is apparently coming to Legends of Runeterra. Apparently this champion was leaked. A bunch of other people knew she was coming, but I had no idea. I had no idea until I went on Discord and saw people talking about it. So Nami apparently is the champion that we are looking at today. I literally don't even know what region she's gonna be in, whether she's like Bilgewater or Targon or what. So I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm gonna stop blabbering on. Let's find out what the heck. Let's find out what the heck Nami does, shall we?
I decide what the tide will bring. I won't let my...
Okay, Bilgewater. All right, they put her in Bilgewater. She's a 3-mana, 2/3 Bilgewater champion with a tune. She says, when you cast a spell, grant +1/+0 to the weakest other ally that isn't immobile. Okay, hold on. When you cast a spell, grant +1/+0 to the weakest other ally that isn't immobile. Okay, so she doesn't have anti-synergy with Monkey Idol, I guess. I guess they just put that in there so that she doesn't have like massive anti-synergy with Monkey Idol. And then level up, you've gained 7+ spell mana this game. Oh. With a tune, I suppose. I wonder if that counts. Does that count banking spell mana? If that counts banking spell mana, then this is very easy.
My home be swallowed by darkness.
Interesting.
My people are counting on me.
+2 cost on pranks. My god.
For the tribe!
I'll make corpses of them all.
Not if you drown first, brute.
Alright, these are the pranks. We've seen the pranks in the past.
Rise with the surf.
Tidal Wave.
Rolling tides. Heed my call. There's a pair of gills I'm happy to see. There's a Nami, rulers of the sea.
Okay, so it does count.
Tide caller. I will drive back the darkness.
Nice. Alright. Alright, that's a pretty good level up. So it does count. It does count just turning normal mana into spell mana. That is how they just showed her leveling up here. So that is a very easy level up condition. Super easy. When you cast a spell. Alright, 3 mana, 3/4, attune. When you cast a spell, grant +2/+1 to the weakest other ally that isn't immobile. Ooh. Grant +2/+1 every time you cast a spell. Okay. So if you guys were wondering what exactly was the point of pranks, I think I found it. I think I found the point of pranks.
Commence operation. We cover Moonstone. I'm counting on you, Admiral. Wash away.
What the heck is this wave card?
Ride the surging tides. I can't back down. Tide's coming in.
Who's on top of the bounty board today?
Let the tide carry you.
I'll show them pain.
I'll show him pain. Who next is two?
Who's hungry? Embrace the current or be swept away.
Oh god, Fizz is getting so big.
Move aside, small fry. Winner, winner, turn a dinner. My loved ones will be safe a while longer.
Those are some big elusives. Alright, here are all the cards. We're gonna go look at the cards on Dak. She seems okay. Okay. She seems a lot like Fizz, she looks just like Fizz support from my primarily. All right, let's see what she actually does here. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at all those support cards, shall we? Okay, so we've got. Oh, and it looks like they're also revealing some of the cards that were revealed on like the seasonal stream. So I guess we'll do those first before we get to, well, let's look at Nami first and then I'll go back and do these. So Nami is a 3-mana 2/3 with a tune. Whenever you cast a spell, grant, that's a grant effect, grant +1/+0 to the weakest other ally that isn't immobile. Which again is just so that she doesn't, so you can have kegs, right? You don't want to be buffing kegs, and you don't want to be buffing Monkey Idol. Things that can't attack or block really don't care about their stats, right? And this is just so that you don't have to worry about that sort of thing with Nami. That's fine. So basically just grant +1/+0 to the weakest other ally. Which isn't too much, right? +1/+0 has sort of, for a long time in Runeterra, been not that ideal, not that great. Giving +1/+0 to lots of things is not as impactful as it might look. However, when she levels up, it becomes grant +2/+1 to the weakest other ally that isn't immobile every single time you cast a spell. That's pretty impactful, right? +2/+1 stacking. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. We saw that Fizz get to like 9/6 or whatever. That's really scary. Okay, every single time you cast a spell. And if you put this in a deck full of pranks, right? If you're just getting prank after prank after prank. Yeah, that's a little scary. That's a little scary. This looks pretty alright. Let's see what all her support cards do. Alright, so her champion spell is Ebb. Nami's Ebb. Fast speed Bilgewater spell. Deal 2 randomly to an enemy or the enemy nexus and create a flow in hand. Oh, I don't like that. I do not like that card. Create a flow in hand. Flow. Heal an ally or your nexus 2 and create an Ebb and Flow in hand. And then Ebb and Flow is 2 mana fleeting fast. And then Flow is fleeting, by the way, so if you don't have enough mana to cast Ebb and Flow, then you miss out, right? Ebb and Flow. Deal 2 randomly to an enemy or the enemy nexus, and heal an ally or your nexus 2. I really wish this couldn't hit nexus. I do not like the fact that this has the ability to hit nexus. Make It Rain also has like a similar clause. Like Make It Rain says deal 1 3 times randomly to the enemy, to enemies or the enemy nexus. But Make It Rain, even Make It Rain is a little bit too much RNG, but there's really no other way to balance that card, so it's okay. But the fact that it hits Nexus sometimes is mitigated by the fact that it can only hit the Nexus once. When you play Ebb, there's a chance that like it just hits the Nexus, and there's nothing you could do to stop that from happening, right? If you play Ebb, it always might hit the enemy Nexus. And usually that will be a bad thing, right? You will almost never want this to hit the Nexus unless you're just playing a burn deck. And sometimes it just will anyway. And there's nothing you can do about it. That's really unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. 2 mana for this effect is almost not even worth it, right? If we compare this to Mystic Shot, like, this is just a 2 mana fast speed Mystic Shot. This is just a Mystic Shot that won't go where you want it, right? A Mystic Shot that you can't target. It's going somewhere at fast speed, but it's not going where you want it to go. So I guess the 2 mana, so like in exchange for not being able to target your Mystic Shot, you get to create a flow, and then that creates an Ebb and Flow, so like that's what you're paying the 2 mana for. But Flow, heal an ally or your Nexus 2. This does target, right? You do get to pick where Flow goes. Like you can heal your Nexus or you can heal an ally, whatever you choose. And then I assume Ebb and Flow you get to target is the same. You get to target your own Nexus or whatever. but then it also just hits randomly. I'm not sure how I feel about this card. I'm not sure how I feel about Ebb. It's a little too random for me. Sometimes you're gonna play this and it's gonna hit exactly what you want and deal 2, and that's gonna be great. But most of the time, I feel like this is just gonna go somewhere random, and it's not gonna feel very good. I like the design of Ebb into Flow into Ebb and Flow, but I don't like that Ebb and Flow are random. I don't like the random nature of this card. That's all right. How, in terms of how strong it is, it looks pretty weak. Like, it's 3 spells, right? The point is that it's 3 spells in one card, which, you know, makes Fizz level up faster, gives like plus 6, plus 3 among your allies. So, like, I get it. I just wish it weren't so random. Alright. Abyssal Guard. 4 mana, 2/3 Fearsome. Okay. This is like the 3rd card in Bilgewater that has Fearsome, right? Fearsome actually is a keyword that some Bilgewater cards have. But right now, as far as I'm aware, let's see if I can do this. Let's see if I can remember. Right now, it's just Dreadway and Prowling Cutthroat, right? Dreadway and Prowling Cutthroat are the only cards in Bilgewater that have Fearsome, and now they're getting a 3rd. Abyssal Guard, Fearsome. When you cast a spell, give me +2/+0 this round. Abyssal Guard, when you cast a spell... Oh. Nope, this card is bad. No, this is a bad card. 4 mana, 2/3 as for like a 6/3 with Fearsome? No, that's a bad card. Come on, Riot, you know better than this. This card is terrible. Alright. Avatar of the Tides. If you would get a mana gem, 6 mana, 4/5. 6 mana, 4/5, Avatar of the Tides. If you would get a mana gem, instead refill your spell mana. Okay. When you cast a spell, create in hand a random spell that costs 3 or less, and give it fleeting. What the heck? Okay. When you get a mana gem, instead refill your spell mana. So every time you attune, you actually just refill your spell mana. Okay. And I imagine... No, if you would get a mana gem. So not attuning. Hold on. I need to look up the word attune. Hold on. I almost massively misinterpreted that card. Refill 1 spell mana. That's what attune does. So no, not when you attune. If you would get a mana gem. So every time... So basically at round start. Or if you play Catalyst of Aeons. Right? That's the only way you're getting an extra mana. That's the only way you're ever getting a mana gem. Is if the round ends, but not after round 10. And if you play Catalyst of Aeons. Those are the only 2 ways to get a mana gem as far as I'm aware. Okay, so basically this just says round start. Refill your spell mana, which is still very strong, right? Round start, refill your spell mana, that's still very strong, but that's kind of what this means. Okay, that's a weird way of putting this, but okay. When you cast a spell, create in hand a random spell. When you cast a spell, create a random spell that costs 3 or less, and give it fleeting. And it doesn't say when you cast a non-fleeting spell, right? It just says when you cast a spell. So, like, as long as this is on the board, if you have any spell, it just starts pumping out value, right? If it's like round 7, right? If you play this on round 6, and you have no spell, you spend all your spell mana, on round 7, you know, assuming this survives, assuming this survives the turn, round 7, you get full spell mana, and so you have 10 mana to work with. And if you start playing spells, if you play any spell, this gives you another random spell that costs 3 or less, and it's fleeting. You play that fleeting spell, it makes another one. You play that fleeting spell, it makes another one. Now, the spells that it gives you always cost 3 or less and are fleeting, and they are completely random. They're not even random from your regions. They're any spell in the game That's any collectible spell in the game that costs 3 or less. Okay, that's really strong, I think. I think that's really strong, but it is kind of dependent on the spells that you get, right? If you play this and it gives you counterfeit copies, you're gonna be like, okay, I didn't want that. Maybe I'll play it and, you know, just to redraw, right? And then it gives you like concurrent timelines. You're like, okay, okay, I guess I'll play that. And then you play concurrent timelines, and then it gives you like jettison. You're gonna be like, okay, look, you know, like there's a lot of crappy cheap spells, but there's also a lot of really good cheap spells, right? There's your Vile Feasts, there's your Mystic Shots, there's your, you know, there's a lot of good stuff you can get off of this, but there's also a lot of trash you can get off of this. All in all, I think this card looks very, very strong. This card looks absurdly powerful, but it is a 6 mana 4/5 that you don't want to put to combat, right? This card looks very, very strong, but also I'm afraid of it. Okay, this card looks really strong, but I'm not exactly sure how strong. Fleet Admiral Shelley. 5 mana 3/3 elusive attune. Shelley's back. For every 2 spells you play in a round, grant other allies +1/+1. Whoa! Whoa! So this is kind of like... It's kind of like doing the Eye of the Dragon thing. It's rewarding you for playing 2 spells in a round, but unlike Eye of the Dragon, the 2 spells per round thing stacks, right? If you play 4 spells in a round, you get, you know, you get to grant all other allies +2/+2. Okay. And it itself is a 5 mana 3/3 with elusive and attune to help you get that spell mana to play those spells. This could be, if you're playing like a real Fizz deck, if you're playing like an actual Fizz deck full of elusives, this could be disgusting, right? If you get to round, all right, here's my drawn out potential curve. If you get to round 5 and you have 1 spell mana, you play Fleet Admiral Shelley, you get 2 spell mana. You go to 2 spell mana, right? If you have 2 1-cost burst speed spells, like if you play Trinket Trade plus a Prank, you get to give everything else +1/+1. If you have a good board at that time, if you like have a bunch of board like you have a Fizz and you have like a Kelp Maidens and you have some 3-drop or 4-drop or a couple more cheap elusives, this is really, really strong. However, it does only have 3 health. This is a 5 mana unit that only has 3 health. Meaning it dies to get excited and whatnot. I think there's a certain deck that will want this. I think there will be a certain Fizz elusives deck built by Swim that will want this card and get good value out of it. I think this card is very close to being good enough for this archetype. It's very close. It's very close to not being good enough, but I think it could maybe be good enough. I think it's there. This is a really scary card. And of course, if your opponent can't remove it, then it's just disgusting, right? If your opponent actually can't get rid of this, your whole board is gonna get real big real fast. Okay. Journeying Sandhopper. Sandhopper? There's no sand in this art. Sandhopper? I guess he's going to beaches. 3 mana 4/3 attune. This is just a 3 mana 4/3 with attune? This is just a 2 mana 4/3, sort of. Now it doesn't have any keywords, right? It doesn't have any keywords. I mean, it has attune. That's sort of a keyword. Like, we can compare this to Merciless Hunter, right? Sort of. Merciless Hunter's still a better card, but this is a 4/3 on round 3, and the difference is that it gives you mana, where Merciless Hunter gives something vulnerable and has fearsome. This is a very vanilla card. I don't think it's good enough. I don't think this is actually good enough. 3 mana 4/3 on round 3. That's not actually doing anything else. I don't think that's good enough. I don't think that's good enough. A 3 mana 4/3 that isn't doing anything is probably not good enough by itself. Unless you're running a deck that just really needs some stats. Like if you're just in a deck that has a lot of backline units like Fizz, like Nami, like Twisted Fate, and you just need something that can like block once or twice and get good value for cheap, I can maybe see playing this. But in most decks, this just isn't gonna make the cut, right? In most decks, this just isn't gonna make the cut. It's just a vanilla card. It's a good vanilla card, but vanilla cards don't see play in Constructed. Alright, Mariah Songstress. 2 mana 3/2. When I'm summoned, if you cast a spell this round, grant me elusive? Ooh, I don't know about this one. This one looks disgusting. This is a 2 mana 3/2 with elusive, with a low cost of how you needed to play a spell. What does Otterpuss... Remind me exactly what Otterpuss does. When did Otterpuss get revealed? Otterpuss, 1 mana, attune, create a prank. So that's the curve, right? The curve is literally just play Otterpuss on round 1. Of course, this does lock you into Bandle. Otterpuss is a Bandle card. But if you play Otterpuss on round 1, and then you play Prank into Mariah Songstress on round 2, you have a 2 mana 3/2 with elusive. On round 2. That's... That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. Oh, God. Alright. If I remember right, back in the beta, Navori Conspirator, the 2 mana Ionia elusive that bounces something, was a 2 mana 3/2 with a downside, right? Navori Conspirator was a 2 mana 3/2 that had the downside of you had to recall another unit in order to play him. And he was too strong. He got nerfed because he made elusive decks too strong. Of course, he had natural synergy with Inspiring Mentor, like a lot of it natural synergy with Inspiring Mentor. And so like him having his downside was not as much of a downside as it might be otherwise. But still, that was a 2 mana 3/2 with elusive and a downside. And this is a 2 mana 3/2, not exactly with a downside, right? But it's conditional elusive, right? This is a 2 mana 3/2 with conditional elusive, and it's not that hard of a condition. You just had to cast a spell first. Such as a prank. Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, this card seems really, really strong. This card looks ridiculously strong. Alright, let's keep going. Mariah Warden, another 2 mana card. 2 mana 2/1, Mariah Warden. When I'm summoned, summon a random 1-cost follower. Oh! Oh, we just got another random summon a random 1-cost. We just got another summon a random 1-cost card. 2 mana 2/1 that summons a random 1-cost. I mean, this will be pretty good for the Bandle Tree deck, right? The Bandle Tree deck that wants to summon a bunch of like units from different regions will like this card. Jagged Taskmaster likes this card. I don't think Nami likes this card though. I don't think this card has very much to do with Nami, but in Bilgewater Swarm decks that are not elusive, right? In non-elusive Bilgewater Swarm decks, sure, they got a new tool. Those don't really exist, but hey, they got a new tool. Nice. All right, Mariah Greatmother, 4 mana 3/3. When I'm summoned, create 5 random 6-cost spells in your deck and lower their cost to 3. Ooh. Create 5 random 6+ cost spells in your deck. Wait a minute, and lower their cost to 3, not by 3, to 3. Wait a minute. This is pretty random as well. This is a lot of RNG going on as well. Like a lot of RNG going on. It's 5 random 6+ cost spells, and then they all cost 3 regardless of how much they cost before. Would you like a 3 mana Field Rush? This card can put a 3 mana Field Rush in your deck. Would you like a 3 mana Ruination? This card could put a 3 mana Ruination. You want a 3 mana Harrowing? We got you covered. But it can also put in like 3 mana Remembrance. It can also put in like 3 mana... what's the Piltover card that's the same as Remembrance but really bad? Unlicensed Innovation. You could get a 3 mana Field Rush, but you could also get a 3 mana Unlicensed Innovation, you know? You could get a 3 mana Harsh Winds. You could get a 3 mana Revitalizing Roar. You could get a 3 mana Vengeance. There's a lot of spells. It turns out there's a lot of cards in this game. This is really random. It's pretty cool though. I want to mess around with it, but I wish it had said specifically 6 cost, right? I wish it had said either create 5 random 6 cost spells, or create, you know, 5 random 6+ cost spells and lower their cost by 3. I wish it had said lower their cost by 3, or like by 4 or something, to make a more consistent effect. I don't like all these random effects. I think this is a little too much randomness for my taste. Cause like sometimes you're gonna draw a 3 mana Unlicensed Innovation and you'll be like, oh, why do I even run Mariah Great Mother? But sometimes you're gonna draw like a 3 mana Field Rush and be like, hey, I have the best deck in the game, you know? Yeah, I wish this card was less random, but it's really cool. Other than that, I like the design. I think it's a really cool card. It seems okay too in certain decks. I don't know if this is the Nami deck, but certain Bilgewater decks will actually pretty well enjoy this card. 3 random 3 mana spells. Like this is like a Twisted Fate card more than anything else, right? It rewards you for having card draw. Since it creates 5 random cards randomly somewhere in your deck, it really rewards you for having a lot of card draw in that deck. Like literally maybe Go Hard might experiment with this, or other Twisted Fate decks. Decks that have lots of card draw will monkey around with Mariah Great Mother, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. All right, last card. Tidal Wave, 3 mana, slow speed Bilgewater spell. Deal 1 to 2 different randomly targeted enemies, and create a crashing wave in your deck. Okay, so we can compare this to Make It Rain, right? This is a 3, instead of, you know, Make It Rain, which is 2 mana, deal 3 randomly to 3 random enemies. This is 3 mana to deal 1 to 2 different randomly targeted enemies. However, this is, well, it's slow instead of fast, which is a big deal, but it can't target Nexus, which is also a big deal. So this is almost like, is a bad Make It Rain, right? It's a 3 mana slow speed Make It Rain. It only deals 2, but it can't hit Nexus. So it's the same thing as Make It Rain, essentially. This costs 1 more mana and is slow and won't ever hurt the Nexus. But if you assume that Make It Rain hits the Nexus once anyway, and you don't care about that Nexus damage, then this is going to be the same thing as a Make It Rain at slow speed. Okay, not a terrible card, but you know, I would not put this card in my deck on purpose, but it's doing more, right? Create a Crashing Wave in your deck. Somewhere in your deck. Crashing Wave. 3 mana slow. Deal 2 to 4 different randomly targeted enemies and create a Colossal Wave. Jesus. Okay, that's a really good card. Also for 3 mana. Deal 2 to 4 different randomly targeted enemies and create a Colossal Wave. Wow. Wow. Okay, that's a really good card. So this is kind of like, I compared this to Make It Rain, but honestly, this is more like Called Shot. This card, and then we should look at Colossal Wave, right? Crashing Wave, deal 2 to 4 different randomly targeted enemies, create a Colossal Wave in your deck, and the Colossal Wave is 3 mana slow, deal 4 to all enemies and the enemy Nexus, and that's just insane, right? It's still slow speed, but wow, that's insane. Alright, so I said we should compare this to Make It Rain, but it's more like we compare this to Called Shot, right? Called Shot is a 2-mana slow speed card in Piltover that essentially, it works a lot like this. You have to play a bad card and shuffle a really good card into your deck for later. Right? Tidal Wave is pretty bad. Like, you have to spend 3 mana on this at slow speed, and you might not even hit the targets you wanted. Right? If your opponent has 2 1/1s and 2 2/2s, and you play Tidal Wave, it might miss both the 1/1s and just hit the 2 2/2s. But there are a lot of scenarios in which you can also guarantee this, right? Since this can't hit the Nexus, there are going to be scenarios in which your opponent just has 2 1/1s, and then you play Tidal Wave and it just kills both the 1/1s, and you feel really good about that, right? That's worth 3 mana. If you play this for 3 mana and it just kills 2 1/1s, you're very happy about that. And then there's a Crashing Wave in your deck somewhere, and if you ever draw that, you're in business, right? Obviously, this synergizes with having lots of card draw in your deck. It also synergizes with Predicts. I don't think there's a Bilgewater deck. I don't think there's a deck right now that has Predicts and Bilgewater cards in it. Right? I don't think there's a Bilgewater deck that's running Predict cards. Yet, as of yet. But that would synergize really well with this if you could try to predict into the Crashing Wave. That's still pretty difficult. Oh, there is one. There's one deck that runs Predicts and Bilgewater cards, and that's Lurk, right? But you're not putting this in your Lurk deck. No, you're definitely not putting this in your Lurk deck. The problem with this card is you might never see the Crashing Wave, right? If you play Tidal Wave, odds are the game could very well end before you ever see Crashing Wave. There's just one. If you play one Tidal Wave, there's going to be one Crashing Wave in your deck. In order to up the odds of ever seeing, let alone the Colossal Wave. Good luck ever seeing this card, but like if you see the Crashing Wave, you'll be happy that you played the Tidal Wave. You're gonna have to put a lot of card draw or Predicts in your deck in order to reliably ever draw a Crashing Wave. And even in that deck, even in a deck with tons of card draw or tons of Predicts or like some of both, it's still gonna be rare that you ever find Colossal Wave. I'm thinking Go Hard. I'm thinking like a Go Hard Kegs deck might actually like Tidal Wave. Same with Mariah Greatmother. These look like Go Hard cards to me. Yeah, and there it might actually be pretty good. If you play Tidal Wave and it deals 1 to 2 different enemies, and it just, even if it misses, if it doesn't deal what you want, it kind of just sets them up for Go Hard anyway, right? It just sets them up to be picked off by Go Hard. And then, like, as you, like, draw a bunch of cards from your deck, you can play... Ooh, these do synergize with Zap Sprayfin. Ooh, I didn't think about that. If you build... Okay, you could build a deck around Tidal Wave where it's, like, one of the only 3 cost or less spells in your deck, and whenever you play Zap, you have, like, a huge chance of drawing one of these. That's true. Although it could just draw you your second Tidal Wave, right? If you play Tidal Wave... and then you play Zap, like, you have a two chances, and you haven't drawn another Tidal Wave, you have 2 chances of hitting Tidal Wave and 1 chance of hitting Crashing Wave, plus whatever chances of other 3 cost or less spells in your deck. But Zap has some, Zap has some nice synergy with this card. That's very interesting. Alright, those are all the Nami cards. Let's go check out these up here. Let's give our impressions. All in all, unlike yesterday's reveals, the Scion reveals all seem to be like a cohesive deck strategy, or at least like two different like one deck, or like 2 different decks that are sort of the same but playing at 2 different speeds, right? There's like an aggro discard deck and like a mid-range discard deck, then maybe they both run Scion. This is not that. Like, there are a bunch of cards here that you're not going to run with Nami at all. And, like, a couple cards that just don't even... Like these 2. Like, Mariah Warden, Mariah Greatmother, and Tidal Wave all seem like cards that Nami doesn't even synergize with, right? Like, sure, you could say that Nami and Tidal Wave go together, but I don't really see it. It looks more like Nami with Pranks. To me, it looks much more like Nami and Pranks. Tidal Wave is a 3 mana slow speed spell, and Nami wants cheaper spells. I think if you're running Nami, you're trying to fill your deck with as many 1 cost and 2 cost spells as you can, not 3 mana slow speed spells. And then Mariah Great Mother and Mariah Warden just don't even synergize with Nami at all. So Nami seems like she's gonna be pretty decent in like a Fizz prankster kind of deck, right? A pranks deck. I don't even know how to evaluate that deck as a whole. I can't even begin to fathom that deck. But that seems where she's going. All right. And then I've seen these 3, but I have not yet seen the Lady of Blood. So the Lady of Blood is a card that is referenced by a lot of the Scion cards. A bunch of the Scion cards, like if you read their flavor text, are talking about the Lady of Blood. So I imagine she's gonna do something regarding like Noxus discard nonsense, but who knows. 4 mana 2/4, Lady of Blood. Noxus. When you discard a non-fleeting unit, create a fleeting copy of it in hand. Oh boy. So whenever you discard a card that isn't fleeting, you get a fleeting copy of it. That's insane. Okay, this is very much a mid-range. This is very much a mid-range supporting version of like a mid-range discard support, maybe even a control discard support. Dear God. This is just insane value. I said yesterday that the biggest problem with discard strategies is that they run you out of cards faster than normal strategies. But if you have a card like this on the board, then never heckin' mind. Then never freaking mind, right? If you play Get Excited and discard, I don't know, the two cost, if you, oh God. If you play, hold on, we need to go to yesterday's cards. If you play Get Excited or something, and you discard Risen Rider, or Fallen Rider, not only will Fallen Rider become a Risen Rider, you'll get a second fleeting Fallen Rider. And then that card will discard itself and get a second Risen Rider. Right? So if you play Lady of Blood on round 4, and then on round 5, you could even have 0 spell mana. If on round 5 you have 0 spell mana, you could play Get Excited, discard a Fallen Rider, play it, and then play a Risen Rider. And then you'll have a fleeting Fallen Rider. Next round will become a Risen Rider all on itself because it's fleeting and it'll discard itself. Oh boy. So yeah, that looks pretty good. It is slow, and the problem I foresee with this card is that the discard cards are very fast. They're like aggressive to, they're like aggro to aggro mid-range, and this is more like mid-range control. Like this is like slow, out-grindy kind of mid-range. But you know, if you I don't think that deck has the time to play a 4 mana 2/4. But if you do, like, you're never gonna run out of cards. You'll never run out of steam. Right? Like, oh my goodness, this card looks nuts, but it doesn't do what the deck wants to do, right? This card looks nuts, but it doesn't discard, it doesn't do what that deck wants to do. It synergizes, but it takes the deck in a direction that the deck doesn't really want to go. So who knows if it'll see play? Maybe a Lady of Blood decks will spawn like these weird, slower discard Noxus decks. I'm interested in that. That sounds fun. Alright, Curious Shellfolk. I did see this card. I saw these 3 cards revealed. Curious Shellfolk is a 6 mana 4/6, and it's from Bandle City. And it says when you pick a card from randomly selected options, create a copy in hand and reduce its cost by 1. So this means anytime you manifest, anytime you predict, and anytime you invoke, right? Anytime you invoke, predict, or manifest, Curious Shellfolk gives you a copy of whatever you picked and reduces its cost by 1. Which means that this card rewards you anytime you create a card by creating another card. This card rewards you for being greedy by being even greedier. Yeah, this is like an ultra greed card. If you want to, this is like old Invoke Targon decks, right? This is just like going all the way to the late game and just completely outgrinding your opponent. This doesn't even make them fleeting either. This just like every time you create a card, you get a copy of it, and it costs one less. This card is nuts, but it's so greedy. Like this is the slowest, greediest Bandle card we've seen yet. But yeah, could see play in Targon decks. Yeah, maybe Targon Bandle Invoke Outgrind will be a thing. Yeah, it's possible. And then we've got an Ionia card, one of the only Ionian cards we've had revealed this whole set. Cloak Matriarch. 5 mana, 4/5 each round. The first time you recall a follower, summon an exact ephemeral copy of it. So basically, this turns your whole board into like, Go Get It, right? Go Get It is a 5 mana fast speed Ionia spell that says like, recall an ally, summon an ephemeral copy of it, and then like the one that you've recalled costs 0. I have no idea what the point of this card is. I don't know how to use this card. I don't know how to make it good. It's Monastery of Hirana support, right? This is like rewarding you for playing Monastery, and until the problem with Monastery has and always has been that there aren't enough things that want to be recalled, right? And this has the same problem. This rewards you for recalling something, but there aren't enough things to be worth recalling, right? There aren't enough things that want to be recalled for you to even consider like this strategy. Now, it is worth mentioning, the first time you recall a follower, summon an exact ephemeral copy of it, which means if you recall something that had a summon effect, you do that summon effect immediately. For instance, you know, the go-to example is always Rekindler. If you use this on a Rekindler, you immediately get to resummon another champion, you know, instantly. And that's really good, but like, it's not good enough, right? That sort of effect is not good enough, even on the Rekindler, to be worth running this card. So until we get some Ionian cards that actually that have like good summon effects and they're affordable, so that we can recall those cards, I don't see the point of this. At one point we'll get that though. At one point we're gonna get something good. Also, Ahri confirmed. Also, it looks like Ahri's gonna be the Ionia champion for like next set or whatever, so that's exciting. And then the last card is an 8 mana 4/7 Yordle from Bandle City, Mirror Mage. When you play a created follower, summon an exact copy. When you play a created spell, cast it again on the same targets. This is a lot like Curious Shellfolk. It's just rewarding you for being completely ultra greedy. Right, it's an 8 mana unit that doesn't win the game. Right, you're gonna pay 8 mana for this unit that could get removed, but if it doesn't get removed, it doesn't like put insane pressure on your opponent. It doesn't like threaten to win the game immediately. It just gets you more value from things that you're already doing. That's so uber greedy. Unless you're playing Vhagar, right? Unless you're playing this in like a Vhagar Darkness deck, in which case you can just play Darkness on the enemy Nexus, and then this copies that, and then you are actually threatening to win the game because of this card, right? In that case, Mirror Mage is actually threatening to win the game instantly, and in that case, it could actually be worth running. In any other deck, I think this is the epitome of greed. This is the epitome of like win more. This is not a card that wants to end the game. This is a card that wants to prolong the game. If you're winning, this card will just help you continue winning for a long time. It's kind of like, yeah. I'm kind of okay with Curious Shellfolk because it's like a 6 mana card that helps you win like outvalue your opponent. But this kind of card is just like, it's just win more, right? It's just an 8 mana card. If you can play this and it doesn't get removed, you should have been winning the game anyway, right? You could have played a better card, but yeah, it'll help you keep winning the game when you're already winning the game. And you can play solitaire against your opponent using this card. I don't much like this card. It looks very win more. I don't think there's a deck that'll competitively want this other than maybe Vhagar, right? Vhagar could maybe want this card, but even that's a little bit of a stretch, right? I don't like Mirror Mage. It looks fun though. It looks like a fun card. It doesn't look like a competitive card. All right, that was a lot of cards. That was a lot of stuff to look over. All in all, I think Nami looks fine. She looks pretty good even. Her level up condition is not even an I've seen, so you can just play her as a leveled up card on like round 5 pretty reliably, I think. Yeah, like round 4, round 5, you should be able to just play her leveled up almost every time. And then if you have a board at all, you just start playing spells and she just gets mad value. Nami actually looks really strong, right? She actually looks really strong. Especially if you're playing Attune cards. I really like Shellshocker in Nami's deck. I feel like Shellshocker is going to see some play with Nami. And then obviously Otterpuss and Trinket Trade and Pranks and like a Fizz deck. It's going to be Nami Fizz with Attune units and lots of cheap spells. So probably Pranks. You could also maybe take her into Ionia. Start buffing up your Eye of the Dragons. I could see that as well. But yeah, she looks pretty good. Abyssal Guard doesn't look good. Journeying Sandhopper doesn't look great. But the other cards all look like they could go somewhere. I don't much care for Ebb or, you know, Ebb or Flow or Ebb and Flow. I don't like it, but it looks okay in like that style of deck. As a champion spell, it's probably going to be fine. I don't know if you're actually going to put this in your deck on purpose. It's an edge case for me. Probably not. Like, you'll play this as Nami's Ebb when you have 6 mana, and that'll be pretty good. But I don't much care for this as a main deckable card. That doesn't mean it's bad, I just don't like it. And then Journeying Sandhopper doesn't seem very good, Abyssal Guard doesn't seem very good, but every other card that we've seen looks like they could see play in certain decks, right? I don't think... Most of them aren't Nami decks. Like, Fleet Admiral Shelley probably can go in Nami. Mariah Songstress can probably go in Nami, but the rest of these cards seem like they don't even belong in Nami decks, and they're really interesting. I would really like to see where these, like, especially Avatar of the Tides and Mariah Greatmother with Tidal Wave, like these 3 cards, they look like some sort of Bilgewater late game control deck that I am really interested in seeing. These cards look super cool, and I want to see where they end up, and I want to build decks around them. They seem really fun. Alright, those are my initial impressions. What do you guys think of Nami? Is there anything I haven't thought about? Everything I didn't notice? What do you guys think of these cards that were revealed the other day? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys.